Full Young and the Restless spoilers. Patty Williams may finally be in police custody after the horrifying syringe attack that left Diane Jenkins Abbott fighting for her life. But anyone who believes that arresting Patty means the nightmare is over may be dangerously mistaken. In Genoa City, chaos rarely ends when the handcuffs click. Sometimes, that is only when the real panic begins. The aftermath of Patty's attack on Diane is already devastating enough. Diane collapsed after being injected with a mysterious substance that was never meant for her. Kyle Abbott was left screaming for help as he held his mother in his arms. And Jack Abbott's family was thrown into a new crisis before they even had time to process the fact that Patty had tried to reach Jack first. But while Diane's life hangs in the balance, Patty's mind is not focused on remorse, guilt, or the possibility that she may have destroyed another family forever. Instead, Patty is already thinking about survival. She is thinking about freedom. She is thinking about the walls closing in around her and the dark reality of prison waiting just beyond the next locked door. Patty may have been captured, but she is not defeated. If anything, being arrested only sharpens the one instinct that has always made her so dangerous. When Patty feels cornered, she becomes capable of anything. The scene of Patty's arrest is the kind of chaos that Genoa City will not forget soon. Officers rush through the hospital corridor, nurses shout for space, security tries to regain control, and chaos stands somewhere between rage and terror as Diane is taken away for emergency treatment. Patty, still wild from the confrontation, is dragged back into the light after trying to run from the consequences of what she has done. Her face may carry fear, fury, and disbelief all at once. She had gone into the hospital convinced that she could silence Jack Abbott permanently. The syringe in her hand was supposed to erase the one witness who could destroy her story. But in the frenzy that followed, Diane became the one struck by the needle. Patty's plan failed, yet the damage was still catastrophic. The police may see a suspect, Kyle may see a monster. Jack's family may see the woman who has shattered their world twice over. But Patty sees something else. She sees the end of her freedom approaching, and that possibility terrifies her more than Diane's condition, more than Kyle's accusations, and perhaps even more than the truth finally catching up to her. That is what makes Patty's arrest so unstable. She is not the kind of woman who quietly accepts a cell, a lawyer, and a long legal process. Jail represents more than punishment to Patty. It represents darkness, silence, confinement, and the loss of control. For someone whose entire recent behavior has been driven by panic and obsession, the idea of being locked away may feel unbearable. Patty does not want to face the cold routine of prison life. She does not want to wake up behind bars, answer to guards, wait for court dates, and listen to the world decide whether she is guilty and stable or beyond saving. She wants movement. She wants air. She wants the illusion that she can still choose her own destiny. Even as the officers take her away, she may already be scanning faces, listening for weaknesses, measuring the distance between herself and any possible escape. Her body may be restrained, but her mind is racing. And while everyone else is focused on Diane's uncertain fate, Patty is focused on avoiding the cage. The emotional cruelty of this moment is impossible to ignore. Diane may be lying in an emergency room, her body under attack from whatever substance Patty injected into her, while Patty is already calculating how to save herself. That contrast makes Patty's lack of remorse even more chilling. Diane has not been declared safe. No one knows if she will wake up, if she will suffer lasting damage, or if the doctors can identify the drug quickly enough to reverse its effects. Kyle may be living through the longest hours of his life, waiting for updates while trying not to fall apart. Jack may still be weak and unaware of the full horror, or perhaps beginning to sense that something terrible has happened because Diane is not at his side. Ashley Abbott may be trying to hold the family together as fear spreads through every room of the hospital. Yet Patty's thoughts remain centered on one question: how does she get out before the system swallows her? That selfishness is exactly why she remains so dangerous. Patty does not need a logical plan built on calm strategy. She needs only fear, opportunity, and someone willing to help her. That someone may be Markham. From the moment Markham became entangled in Patty's schemes, his role has carried an air of danger that goes beyond professional misconduct or casual deception. He has not behaved like an innocent doctor caught in someone else's madness. He has lingered too closely, supported too many convenient lies, and protected Patty too carefully. If he is truly Patty's lover, then his motives become even more volatile. Markham cannot allow Patty to disappear into a jail cell because her imprisonment threatens him as much as it threatens her. If Patty breaks under pressure, if she becomes desperate enough to talk, if investigators begin questioning how she gained access to medical supplies, disguises, information, or hospital vulnerabilities, Markham could find himself exposed. His relationship with Patty is not just romantic, it is dangerous evidence. Every secret he helped keep, every door he helped open, every lie he helped reinforce could return to destroy him. That means Patty's arrest places Markham in a crisis of his own. He may tell himself he is protecting the woman he loves, but in truth, he may also be protecting himself. Markham's presence near the situation becomes deeply suspicious. He may not be able to openly interfere once Patty is in police custody, but he can watch. He can wait. He can look for weak points in the system. He can listen for careless comments from officers, study the rhythm of the police station, and observe which people are exhausted, distracted, overconfident, or too eager to believe that a woman in handcuffs is no longer a threat. His danger lies in patience. Patty is impulsive, but Markham may be calculating. That combination makes them frightening. Patty has the desperation to act, while Markham has the cold awareness to recognize the right moment. He knows Patty will not survive emotionally behind bars, or at least he believes she will not. He may also fear that if she spends even one night under intense interrogation, the pressure will crack her open. So, he stays close. Not necessarily by standing beside her, but by hovering around the edges of the crisis like a man waiting for the exact second when official order becomes human weakness. The jail itself becomes a psychological trap for Patty long before she physically escapes it. The moment she is placed in a holding area, her fear begins to grow. The walls feel too close. The air feels too heavy. The lights are too harsh or too dim. Depending on the corner she is forced into, voices echo, doors lock, footsteps pass and fade. For Patty, every sound may feel like proof that freedom is moving farther away. She may imagine herself forgotten there, abandoned by Markham, condemned by Jack, hated by Kyle, blamed for Diane's condition, and stripped of every excuse she once used to justify herself. She may tell herself she cannot breathe, she cannot think, she cannot stay. And because Patty's mind has always been capable of turning fear into action, the holding cell does not calm her down. It becomes the pressure chamber that makes her more determined to break out. She does not see prison as justice. She sees it as annihilation. This is where Patty begins to find the weakness. Not through careful professionalism, not through calm genius, but through the same unstable sensitivity that has always made her notice emotional gaps in people. She sees fatigue. She sees routine. She sees how quickly people relax after believing the main danger has passed. The police are dealing with a hospital attack, a high-profile family crisis, questions from the Abbotts, possible media attention, and the enormous pressure of Diane's condition. Officers may be running on adrenaline. Some may believe Patty is too shaken to try anything. Others may assume that because she is inside the station, surrounded by law enforcement, the matter is under control. That assumption is exactly the opening Patty needs. A system under stress does not always fail because of one dramatic mistake. Sometimes it fails because everyone believes someone else is watching closely enough. Patty senses that. She understands that in the middle of a citywide storm, even a locked door can become less secure if the people guarding it are distracted by the larger disaster outside. As night deepens, this situation turns more ominous. The police station, so loud and crowded earlier, begins to change. Conversations become quieter. The urgent rush slows into exhausted routine. Some officers remain alert, but others are pulled into reports, calls, transfers, updates, and the endless paperwork that follows a violent incident. Patty waits inside that darkness, not peacefully, but intensely. She is afraid, but fear keeps her awake. She thinks of Diane, not with pity, but with panic over what Diane might say if she survives. She thinks of Jack, whose memory could bury her. She thinks of Kyle, whose rage could make sure she never sees daylight again. She thinks of Markham, wondering whether he is coming, whether he has abandoned her, whether he still loves her enough to risk everything. The more she thinks, the more impossible it becomes for her to remain still. Every minute behind bars becomes a threat. Every shadow becomes a command. Run. Markham's role in the escape does not need to be loud to be significant. He may not storm the station or make some reckless public move that immediately exposes him. Instead, his influence may appear in subtler ways, a piece of information that reaches Patty when it should not, a moment of confusion at exactly the wrong time, a distraction outside the holding area, or a failure of attention that feels too convenient to be accidental. Whether he directly helps or simply creates the conditions that allow Patty to act, his involvement would make the escape feel less like luck and more like a partnership still operating in the shadows. Patty believes Markham cannot let his girlfriend rot in jail, and that belief gives her courage. Even if she is terrified, she is not alone in her own mind. She convinces herself someone out there is waiting, someone still wants her free, someone still sees her as more than a criminal. That belief may be enough to push her into the most daring move of her life. When Patty finally breaks out, the escape feels shocking not because it is clean, but because it is so bold. She is not calm. She is not elegant. She is driven by pure survival. The dark jail that terrified her becomes the stage for an act of desperation that leaves the police humiliated and Genoa City exposed. In the confusion of a long and chaotic night, Patty manages to get beyond the barrier that was supposed to hold her. One moment, she is the captured suspect in a violent hospital attack. The next, alarms are raised, officers shout through corridors, and the terrible realization spreads: Patty Williams is gone. The woman who injected Diane with a mysterious substance, the woman who tried to reach Jack with a syringe, the woman who may hold the key to a larger conspiracy involving Markham, has vanished before the authorities could secure the truth from her. It is a spectacular escape not because it should have been possible, but because it should not have been possible at all. The police reaction is immediate and frantic. A state of emergency is declared because Patty is not merely a fugitive. She is unstable, violent, medically dangerous, and connected to an attack that may still claim Diane's life. Every hospital, road, station, and Abbott-related location becomes a potential target. Officers are forced to warn the families involved. Jack's security must be increased. Diane's room, if she is still alive and under treatment, becomes a guarded zone. Kyle may explode when he hears the news, because the failure is almost too much to bear. First, the police failed to see Patty clearly. Then they failed to stop her from reaching the hospital. Now, after finally arresting her, they have failed to keep her in custody. For Kyle, this is not just incompetence, it is a direct threat to his parents. Patty is free again, and that means Jack and Diane are not safe. Ashley Abbott's fury could become volcanic once Patty escapes. Ashley has returned to Genoa City to support Jack, but she may quickly realize that emotional support is not enough. Her family is under attack from someone who refuses to stay contained. Ashley may demand answers from the police, challenge their security, and make it clear that if law enforcement cannot protect the Abbotts will protect themselves. She may also turn her attention toward Markham, especially if his behavior begins to look suspicious in light of Patty's escape. Ashley is not someone easily fooled when she is focused, and Markham's connection to Patty may begin to stand out even more now. Why was he so close to the chaos? Why did Patty have access to medical knowledge or dangerous substances? Who benefits from Patty being free? These questions could drive Ashley into a new investigation, one that may expose not only Patty's crimes but also the person who has been helping her stay one step ahead. Jack's response to the escape may be emotionally complex. He is recovering, possibly still weak, and already shaken by Diane's condition. Learning that Patty has escaped could push him into anger, fear, and guilt all at once. He may worry that Patty will return to finish what she started. He may worry that Diane will never be safe if she wakes up. He may worry that Kyle, driven by rage, will go after Patty himself and walk into danger. Jack may feel trapped by his own body, unable to stand and fight while his family faces a threat outside the hospital walls. That helplessness can be unbearable for him. Jack Abbott is not a passive man. He protects, confronts, negotiates, fights, and takes control whenever he can. But now he may be forced to lie in a hospital bed while the woman who stabbed him, framed Diane, and injected Diane disappears into the city. That could be the thing that hardens Jack's resolve. Paddy's escape may not weaken him emotionally. It may give him one reason to recover faster. He has to protect his family from the monster who keeps coming back. Diane's uncertain condition makes the emergency even worse. If Diane is still unconscious, she cannot tell the police exactly what happened in those final seconds. She cannot identify what Paddy said, how she moved, whether Markham's name came up, or whether Paddy hinted at where she might go. Diane's silence gives Paddy more room to run. If Diane is stable but in a coma, the family must guard her not only as a patient but as a witness. If Diane begins to wake, the danger increases because Paddy may decide Diane has become another threat that must be silenced. The same twisted logic that made Jack a target could easily make Diane one too. In Paddy's mind, anyone who can expose her becomes an enemy. That means Diane's survival could place her in danger all over again. The hospital, already shaken by one breach, must now prepare for the possibility that Paddy may return, not to attack Jack this time, but to make sure Diane never speaks. Markham may also become more dangerous after Paddy's escape because the situation forces him to choose between hiding and helping. If he remains too distant, Paddy may feel betrayed and unpredictable. If he comes too close, he risks exposing himself. Their relationship, once useful, may begin to fracture under pressure. Paddy may expect loyalty, protection, and escape. Markham may want control, silence, and self-preservation. Those goals are not the same. A fugitive Paddy is harder to manage than an imprisoned Paddy. She can act on impulse, contact the wrong person, appear in the wrong place, or say something that leads investigators directly to him. Markham may have helped create the escape because he feared what Paddy would reveal in jail, but freeing her creates a new problem. Now he has to keep her hidden, calm, and quiet. That may be impossible. Paddy's fear of prison may have pushed her out of the cell, but her fear of abandonment may push her into even more reckless behavior. The citywide emergency also raises the stakes for every character connected to the Abbott crisis. The police must answer publicly and privately for how Paddy escaped. Detective Burrow, already under scrutiny for his handling of Diane's case, may look even worse now. If he was too focused on Diane and too slow to understand Paddy, this escape becomes a professional disaster. Ka may confront him with fury, demanding to know how a woman who nearly killed both his parents was allowed to vanish. Ashley may threaten legal consequences. Michael Baldwin may use the escape as proof that the investigation has been mishandled from the beginning. The fact that Diane was treated as a suspect while Paddy maneuvered through hospital corridors with a deadly syringe could become a scandal. Paddy's escape does not just endanger lives. It exposes failures, and those failures may have consequences beyond the immediate search. For Paddy, however, freedom may not feel as liberating as she imagined. Once she is out, she is no longer trapped by bars, but she is hunted by the entire city. Every siren could be for her. Every stranger could recognize her. Every phone call could be traced. Every former ally could betray her. She may have escaped the darkness of jail, but she has entered a wider darkness where there is nowhere truly safe. Her need for freedom may quickly become a new prison of paranoia. She may reach for Markham, but if he hesitates, she could unravel. She may think about leaving Genoa City, but the emergency lockdown may make that difficult. She may consider returning to the hospital, either out of obsession with Jack or fear of Diane waking. That is what makes her so unpredictable. A rational fugitive runs away from the scene of the crime. Paddy may run toward it, especially if her obsession convinces her that unfinished business still waits there. The emotional fallout for Cal may be especially intense because he has already endured too much helplessness. He watched Jack suffer. He defended Diane. He chased Paddy. He held Diane after the injection. Now he must learn that the woman responsible is free again. Cal may begin to feel that the official system cannot protect his family, and that belief could drive him toward reckless decisions. He may want to hunt Paddy down himself, follow leads, confront Markham, pressure hospital staff, or place himself directly in danger to prevent another attack. Diane's condition may be the only thing keeping him anchored, but even that could become fuel for revenge. If he sits beside Diane and sees no response, if doctors refuse to promise she will wake, if Jack asks for updates with fear in his eyes, Kyle's anger may become almost uncontrollable. The more Patty runs, the more Kyle may feel compelled to chase. This is where the story gains its larger dramatic force. Patty's escape is not just a plot twist. It is a transformation of the entire conflict. Before, the Abbotts were dealing with a dangerous woman who had been exposed and arrested. After the escape, they are dealing with a fugitive who has nothing left to lose. Patty cannot easily return to normal life. She cannot pretend innocence. She cannot quietly manipulate from the shadows in the same way. Her crimes are too visible now. Diane's body carries the evidence. Jack's memory may soon confirm the truth. Kyle saw too much. Ashley will ask too many questions. Markham is the only person who may still be able to help Patty, but that makes him vulnerable too. The circle is tightening, and Patty knows it. That means her next move may be the most dangerous one yet. By the time the police declare a state of emergency, Genoa City is no longer simply reacting to a hospital attack. It is bracing for a citywide manhunt with deeply personal stakes. The Abbotts must protect Jack and Diane. The police must repair a catastrophic failure. Markham must decide whether love, guilt, or self-preservation controls him. Patty must decide whether to flee, hide, or strike again. And somewhere inside the hospital, Diane's fate remains the question that could determine everything. If Diane dies, Patty becomes a fugitive tied to a fatal attack. If Diane survives and wakes, Patty becomes a fugitive hunted by the testimony of the woman she tried to silence. Either outcome puts Patty in more danger than she may realize. Her escape may look like a triumph for one brief moment, a daring break from the darkness she feared. But in truth, it may be the mistake that turns all of Genoa City against her. The most chilling possibility is that Patty's fear of prison has not saved her from punishment at all. It has only delayed it while making the consequences worse. Every step she takes outside that cell creates more evidence of guilt. Every person who helps her becomes part of the conspiracy. Every hour she remains free increases the danger to Jack, Diane, and everyone connected to them. Patty wanted freedom, but freedom without control can become a trap. Markham wanted to keep his girlfriend out of prison, but he may have unleashed the one person who can destroy him. The police wanted to contain the crisis, but their failure has turned a hospital tragedy into a citywide emergency. And the Abbott family, already broken by fear, may now unite around one mission: bring Patty Williams down before she can hurt anyone else. The jail doors may be behind Patty now, but the real walls are closing in faster than she knows, and if Diane opens her eyes before Patty disappears for good, the fugitive's spectacular escape may become nothing more than the beginning of her final downfall.